This is IBM Museum, and I'm wrapping up another loose end. I had that PC Junior power brick that I wasn't getting any voltage output or not the right voltage output out of it. And I went through and I misunderstood the instructions. I was told to hit it with the hammer, break it open. I'm going to get turned around. I've got my anchor webcam the right position, maybe a little bit close. And I realized that I have this inverted. I'll have to look over and make sure how this shows up on the recording. But I was normally supposed to go through. I've got all the bits and pieces in here. Um, and normally, what's supposed to happen is you hammer along with the flat edge to just break the seal. As you can see, this is a relatively straight edge here. Yeah, okay, that's a relatively straight edge. And so that's been broken. The seal has been broken, and the cover just pops off. Now, as luck would have it, as it is, there's a 3D print. And so I can get my printer going and I can make a new enclosure, at least for what I destroyed. Won't have that nice IBM label on it, but I'm going to work on that to get the the power supply looking a little bit more presentable. I do realize I have the transformer inverted in this instance, but I wanted to show, with the thermal fuse being here over the primary coil. And of course, I don't have this plugged in at all right now. I've got the cords down. I'm well aware enough of what I'm doing. And if you happen to have to replace the thermal fuse, get these leads around a little bit better. I do have the ground lead kind of strapped in, screwed down on the transformer. The the coil, the ferrite or the metal casing that's around the transformer, to get it held down. But if you do replace the thermal fuse, you've got to go through and actually you can't solder this at all because you're going to blow the fuse if you attempt to solder it. You've got to go through and crimp down from the leads that are here. You just get the replacement. They've got the crimps, and you go through with needle nose pliers to crimp that down on the leads. That's for the thermal fuse that's there. Now the electrical fuse, which is blown in my case, it actually has, it even looks like there's a spot down here that retains the fuse. With the transformer itself inverted, I can't put in those positions, but I have to make sure that these leads remain clear of shorting out or anything else as I go through and work with this. Now here is the old fuse, and if I have to go through and hide the webcam, I can. I'm talking about the webcam that I'm on from the computer. Now it's held within these two caps, and you have to go through and twist a little bit, and you go through and you don't want to torque on the glass portion because you'll break it. I mean, I did anyway, but you want to just, these go over, and it's a tight friction fit of the caps for holding that fuse in place. Now I do have replacement fuses. They are the 5 amp slow blow fuses. And I should have enough of an equivalent here. And, I don't know what caused this fuse to blow originally. I do have a second fuse if I happen to blow it in this. I've got one of my PC Juniors out at the ready that I can go through and I can check voltages. And I'll have to see how because like I say, these caps are, and even it looks like these caps are for a lesser diameter fuse. And these fuses are supposed to be pretty much industry specs, you would think, but they've made the caps on these a lot tighter. And what might be the thing to do is I think I'm going to snip along the. I've got my. I'll have to just briefly pause the video. Okay, I've gotten out a pair of wire cutters, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut along one portion of this cap on either side, just to give it enough slack to fit. I mean, I think I'm cutting through enough to where it'll splay. Yeah, perfect. Now let's see if I've. Okay, so just kind of splitting a little bit of edge, so there's still enough friction in there, but it holds the fuse. You want to make sure it's got, it's seated and got has contact in there, and that should do it. As long as I keep this, don't get close or anything else like that. Don't get anything that shorts across any of these contacts. I'm making sure that my ground is fastened down. I do have my voltmeter at the ready. I want to move around these cables as little as possible. They don't have any sort of strain relief on them. And I actually should put this on a more of a switch box that would that'd be able to switch off quickly. Because going through and plugging this directly in to the outlet, maybe I can go through. Okay, I hear the hum. And again, going through and moving these cables around as little as possible, and probably what I'll do, so I want to get the voltmeter in there as well. Let's get me off the screen. I could probably zoom in. And I'm not moving this cable around from the secondaries too much because I'm going to test, of course, and the center lead, as we see on this, is that ground. So this is going across the outside pins, and this is a reversible plug. Again, I don't want to move this around too much at all, but I've got 19.44 or 45 volts. So that's the right voltage I want to see. I've got my multimeter switched over to AC by the button that's up there. Of course, on your multimeter, you can do whatever adjustments that you need to do. Okay, so we are good there. I'm going to go through for the moment, I like that assembly I have it on now to where it holds a little bit better. But I want to go through and pause the video and get a little bit better set up for turning on the system. PCjr, getting it plugged in, getting the video capture set up, and see if we can progress from there. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, I've got everything pretty much connected. I'm going to go through. I do have things like, I mean, I wanted to go through and use my tech select rather than this dongle. I mean, so I've got that in place, and I've got connections for all the PCjr keyboard. I've got a keyboard standing by. I could go through and go infrared and everything else. But I thought the way to do things, I'll just go through and I'll use the tech select adapter for the PS2 keyboard as well. And that's set as a default to the PS2. It's got jumper from 1 to 2 on that block. So I'll find out how well this PS2 adapter works as well. And just to get that, and I don't have the transformer plugged in, although I've got everything else connected, and making sure I don't brush up against anything that's live. I'll try and get that 3D enclosure printed as soon as possible. I've got the video capture set up over here. Looks like it should be able to go live, and just have to figure out the right orientation of the PS2 connector. I don't want to strain any PCB, bend it in any unusual way. So I've got that going. I think what I'll do is I'll get myself up on screen. I'm going to get the video capture ready to go. And I do have, it's kind of interesting for my shirt just in that lower corner for all that. So let's go through. And I don't have any cartridges in there. I don't have any diskettes. In fact, if I get things going, okay, I hear the hum of the transformer. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to flip things on. Wow. And I had this adjusted for the convertible CGA before. I don't know how this is supposed to normally present itself on screen. You know, I'd have to see. It looks like the size and everything else is about right. So this is the ROM basic without any other boot device on here. Of course, I just have a basic PCjr, no pun intended, basic. Now, I thought one of the things that would be kind of cool to do is to go through, and I have the basic for the PCjr. I do have this cartridge in there that's supposed to go through and set a little bit more, the PCjr up a little bit more for an appropriate basic, ROM basic, for this. And this has a ROM chip in it as well. And so you normally go through and turn the system off. And of the two cartridge ports, I realize I have the front of this unit just around. I think I'm going for the leftmost slot on the front. And let's find out if that's the right one. So it counts to the RAM. (128 KB). Okay, so that's with the cartridge in there. IBM PC Junior Basic J1.00. And I don't know if there's any later versions or this is the version. Um, but, you know, we could do, huh. So that is, okay. I just wonder if that is seated well enough in the, I may have to go through and use the infrared keyboard. This has also got the plug for plugging the PC Junior keyboard in directly. Let me see if I can go through without shorting anything out. If I can go through and to get the front, I have the batteries. And the fuse is moving a little bit. I think the it's the okay. So let's go through. Probably hide that for now. Yeah, there's a I'll just try and use the infrared. And I have to look at the diagram. Yeah, and you almost have to use a coin. That's very dim there, even with, gotta get my ring light. Okay. So it looks like positive to the left on top for that number 1, and number 3, number 2, and number 4 have the negative to the left. So I'm thinking, and these are AAA batteries. Or is it? And there is not. Maybe it's maybe it's more of the, because I didn't think the AA were longer in any form. Yeah, that's okay. Bump my camera. Okay. Do I have double A's enough? Because I may have to go the with, boy, too much stuff in the drawer. Okay, positive to the left. I guess they are a little bit, double A are a little bit taller. I should bounce these on the ground to tell of what their energizer that I've had in the drawer like this. I'm not. So we have energizer batteries loaded in there. And this So apparently you just have to pull the batteries because there's not any other power switch. And these keyboards are pretty horrible. So guess I have to be pointed at the infrared receiver, and I don't get nothing. I wonder if I have to go to I may have to unplug the connection, that PS2, the Tech Select adapter. Yeah, heard a fan come on. Yeah, that PS2 plug is fully seated and everything else. I guess it's just going to go through and want to give me difficulties. And again, without shorting out anything, I need to make sure that I'm in the right spot for that. Okay. We have a wired keyboard going now. We could get enough slack from being tangled in everywhere. I didn't even have to do a okay, backspace doesn't work. Enter. I had initial typing. Go off. Click on. So 128 KB on this unit. We can see that it went through and it tried to access the drive. And I have other keyboards around. Might need them. Even though this case and make sure we don't disturb cameras or anything. Okay, well that like I say, these keyboards are really horrible. I didn't go through and put the other one on. And I need to see if there's ways to go through and do an easy way to do tones and stuff like that, play the speaker. I didn't give a line number to that, but it's a direct statement. There's only one statement to the program. So as I press enter, hi from the PCjr. So a little bit of work to get to here, but we got there. So I'm really glad for that. So that's kind of neat. So I'll get that 3D enclosure, the power brick 3D printed enclosure. I'll get that done as soon as I can, and I'll show that. I'll actually give a link to it in the video description as well, because I'm looking forward to seeing how well that works out, and I can get that transformer and the fusing and everything else in enclosure, so I don't have to worry about bumping or anything like that. So, but I think it's great to see the PCjr startup. I could go through and I could work with my other unit here too. I had to go through and troubleshoot that tech select adapter a little bit. It's supposed to work for a PS2 keyboard, and I don't know if it's just the unit giving me issues at the start or something else, but I'll try it with my other unit as well that I have. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and click on the like button, please. And leave comments, all sorts of comments. I did get some feedback from me smashing up that power brick and everything else. I felt pretty bad that I did misunderstood the instructions entirely about breaking the seam and not being as I thought meant break the case. I thought that there's not any other way to get inside that power brick case, and I guess I learned. So subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. As you can see, I've got a lot of varied content that comes out, and I look forward to seeing people on the live stream tomorrow morning for the limited length that I'll have for doing that. But this is IBM Museum. That's all I have for now. Thank you.